Welcome back, my dear student. In this lecture, we are going to be writing coding our routes to get the code from the URL. And I'm going to show you a little trick with the route model binding, okay? So, if you don't know about this trick, that's fine. This is a cool feature that Laravel has. And some of you know it, some of you don't. So I'm here to show those of you that don't know it how it's done. So we want the user to go to this activate URL or whatever URL you want. In this case, it's just gonna be, I'm gonna just name it like that. You can name it however you want. Activation controller, okay? And we want that code to hit this activation method. Simple as that. So you can do this in two ways, using route model binding or not using route model binding. All right, when you're not using route model binding, you're just passing the ID right here like this. Okay, and then of course you write your method activation like this, and then you get the ID here, and of course you come here and you say, well, I want to find that ID. All right, and that's how you find the model, right? That's what we usually do. But with route model binding, you do things a little bit different. What you can do is you can inject that whole model in here, whatever model you're looking for. So you just inject it, and now Laravel by default is going to find that model and give you that model right here in this variable like this. And now you can use it. You can return this variable to the view, and that's it. That would be your model. All right, you don't have to find anything anymore. So this is route model binding. Now, and of course I'm misspelling my method name, but you get the point, right? We pass the ID here on the URL like usual. Let's say ID number 2. We type in this, all right, we inject this, and by default, behind the scenes, Laravel is going to relate this ID with this model right here, and we're gonna have it right here. So we're gonna have whatever code we can pull out whatever we want from here. Okay, the code name, the title, whatever, the code column, whatever we want. So now with route model binding, okay, the way we're doing it, actually we're doing it a little bit different. Instead of passing the ID up here, we're passing the code. Okay, and because we're doing that, we need to go to the activation, all right, model. We need to go to that model, and we need to say, well, I know, Laravel, that you are looking for the ID by default of that specific model when we pass in it when we pass it in the route, right? It's looking for the ID, but we want you to look for another column. And what is that column name? Well, remember that we have our code in the code column. Okay, so instead of by default, this is how Laravel is going to relate that model by the ID, but we want Laravel to relate that model by the code column, because that is what we are passing right here. Remember, this is going to be a random string here with a lot of characters, and we want Laravel to relate that, all those characters, with this one here when we inject it in the method. Okay, now we don't need this, of course. Okay, so just because we're using a different column, we need to do this get route key name. Okay, so simple as that, guys. That's all. That's all with route model binding. If you don't understand it, don't worry. You're gonna see a little bit more later. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next lecture.